Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I'm so excited to be here with relationship coach Jake Maddock. Hey Jake.
Hey, my friend, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, 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 good.
Love it. So,
Thank you very much for having me.
sorry, say that again.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my God, of course. Thanks for coming. It's that something popped up, so I couldn't hear what you said. Um, but I'm very excited to chat. And before we get into it, what is your favorite romantic gesture?
Oh, that's a good question. That's really good. Um, Probably, so I've taken my wife on a lot of dates over the years. Probably the best romantic one. There's a couple tied actually. So one romantic gesture which I love, there's a cute little gondola ride thing on the Gold Coast in Australia. And they put you in a little gondola, like those Italian type gondolas, and they have all these beautiful picnic stuff and champagne, and they go through all the canal systems. It's really romantic. And this past Valentine's Day was pretty good. So I spent tons of money and I filled up this room with roses and balloons and everything. It was pretty cool. So
That's
those two are probably.
I love that. What about something that someone has done for you? That's a nice gesture.
Um, this last Valentine's Day, my wife did a great job. She I'm a big fan of cake. I like cake, so she made this fancy cake, which was cool. Um, she's always really good with gifts and balloons and all that sort of cool stuff.
I love it. How did you and your wife meet?
We met on Tinder many years ago. Yeah.
Oh, who had the first opening line and what was it?
I had the first opening line. What I teach people is to start with a curiosity question, I call it. So it's a question which breeds curiosity within the reader. My curiosity question at the time was, if you could have two superpowers, what would they be?
And what was the answer?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been many years.
What would your
Yeah,
answer be?
I can't remember what mine was. I had this whole thing thought out. It was very thoroughly
Yeah.
thought out, designed. I
Well,
love a good go
a good
ahead.
a good power.
Yeah, I got I what I teach with curiosity questions, I got some great curiosity questions. One of my another favorites is, if you could go on any road trip, if you went on a road trip and you could pick one song, what would the song be?
I love that. That reminds me of a podcast that I like called Desert Island Discs. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
But like they bring the guest on a desert island and they get to choose the soundtrack on this desert island, and it's like all they have. But going back to your superhero question, what I someone once told me that if you choose being invisible, so like let's say you choose to fly and let's say you choose to be invisible, like I choose to fly and you choose to be invisible. If I choose to fly, then it means I'm more extroverted. And if you choose to be invisible, it means you're more introverted.
Makes sense. I
Yeah.
would much rather fly than be invisible.
Oh, me too, like 100%. But
Being
I mean,
invisible, being
yeah,
invisible feels a bit schemy. It
yeah,
feels
it's
a
kind of
bit,
creepy.
why do you
It's
want to
kind of
be invisible? Are you being a creep or something?
right. And it's also like what you shouldn't be hearing now is probably none of your business to be hearing.
Exactly. Like, why are
Hmm.
you doing something underhanded?
Right, right, exactly. So how long have you guys now been married?
Um, we met in 2018.
Hmm.
So yeah, 20th of October 2018. That wasn't our wedding day. Our wedding day
Hmm.
was the 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 20th of May. Yeah.
Wait, you got married the same year that you met?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
A few years later,
Hmm.
um, great wedding day. Huge fan. I know it's off topic, but a lot of people ask me all the time, should we elope or should we get married? I strongly recommend do a big wedding.
Yeah.
Um, my wedding was a decent size, but if I knew it was going to be that good, I would do it even bigger again. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone wants to elope. It kind of feels like someone going, well, I'm not going to have a birthday party because no one likes me, so I'm just going to stay home by myself. It's like, what are you doing? Weddings are fantastic. Invite all your family and your friends, have a band, do it up. Like you might only have one.
I agree. I mean, hopefully you only have one.
Yeah, not five.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And what would you say was like one of, if not the reason that you knew that your wife was the one when you guys met?
Yeah, good question. So one of the things I teach when you meet your ideal partner, there's a beautiful mix of chemistry, compatibility, X factor, and they can do the job. So as soon as we met, incredible chemistry. Just you can just feel it. You just sort of rip each other's clothes off. Really good compatibility too. So you can just talk every day, just all the time. Just really good. Just you're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And you have X factor's a little bit tricky to describe, Lindsay. So it's kind of like fairy dust in the air or like magic. I don't know. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
to describe. It's like something in your soul saying, "Hey, you got to be with this person." You know what I
Yep.
mean?
I do know what you mean. I feel like they're like in looking for a partner, for me, I felt like it was hard to find this like perfect balance of confident, but also not like full of themselves, you know?
Yeah,
And I felt like I found that in my husband, but I mean, it definitely was a journey for sure. For sure, a
it's a
journey.
big journey.
It's a big journey. And the X factor is a very real thing. I've never heard of it described as the X factor, but it's true. There is something, I wouldn't say it's like they necessarily have an X factor to the world, but to each other, you have that.
100%. You're gonna if anyone's listening who's single right now, you're gonna meet people who they tick every box. There's good chemistry, good compatibility, but something's missing, but you don't really know what it is. Then other people, they don't tick every box. They tick most boxes, but the X factor, something telling you that you must be with that person. And the other thing I wanted to say as well, Lindsay, the before how you're looking for that mix of confidence but humble but not arrogant, that beautiful mix is what I would kind of describe as a Santa Claus thing. So I always picture Santa Claus in the movies as someone who's confident, but also very humble. There's no arrogance there, very reliable, solid character.
Mm,
Look for the same sort of thing in a guy. He's not
mm.
flashy, but he's very confident, but he's also very humble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What do you say to, because there's a lot of dating advice out there that's bad. There's a lot of dating coaches out there saying things like, you shouldn't care if there's a spark. The connection doesn't matter. It's more about, if they'd be a good partner and a good parent and a good this, but like, don't expect to have chemistry right away. Like it can be like, it can evolve over time, whatever. And I hear that and I'm like, no way. But I want to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Some people I've even heard describing that spark as a negative thing, like, well, you're probably just really anxious, and it's probably a red
Yeah.
flag. You're like, maybe you're overthinking it, but that spark is really important. You should definitely want to rip each other's clothes off. That chemistry needs to be really strong. Um, if you want a really long-term, very healthy, romantic type relationship, let's start off really high, really good chemistry, really good, really strong attraction at the start. Because when you start throwing other things in the mix, work and kids and all this other stuff, you got lots of things which can deteriorate that. So if you're only starting down here, you got nowhere to go as well. So starting with that really strong chemistry, very important.
Yeah. Such a good point about like starting off with that because it's only gonna get harder. Like that foundation that you start with has to be so strong because you're gonna throw so many things in, like marriage, if you want kids, like you're going to be going through like, your family member being sick, moving, this, that. And if you're still like building to a place where you have a strong foundation and those things were thrown at you, like you're just gonna crumble.
Yeah. Building the foundation of a 10 out of 10 is really important.
Yeah. What do you think that women don't really know about men that you try to teach, or coach, or maybe that is in your book, which is about having like a 10 out of 10 relationship?
Yeah. The main problem I see, the main thing a lot of women get wrong is they talk to men like the man is a woman. which, and then the woman stands back and goes, this guy's not listening to me. When I do tell him to do something, he gets really offended and criticized. And it's like they're talking two different languages. One of the things I teach women a lot is how to communicate to a guy so he understands what you're saying, but also wants to do what you want.
Mm,
Okay. And that's a huge mistake a lot of women make. So standard communication a lot of women do is too vague. It's too large. It's not specific, and it doesn't make any sense.
mhm.
So, for example, I'll give a very common sentence. I'm married. A wife might say to a husband, he might say, hey, do you need any help around the house, honey? Do you want me to do anything? And she might say, well, if you see anything that needs to be done, just do that. That'd be awesome. So he goes, well, it looks great. I might go and sit down and
Yeah.
watch.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Okay. So that's an example of a very vague sentence, which you will be disappointed because the woman didn't manage expectations, didn't tell him what she want. Instead, it would be a much better sentence if she touched him on the shoulder and said, I would love if you took the garbage out, honey. That would help me a lot. Thank you. Thanks heaps. Then you say, oh yeah, sure. Easy. And he'd go and do it. Done. Easy. Easy peasy. Really specific, good feminine sentence structure. And you're talking to a guy in a way that he understands.
Yep. Yeah, I'm so with you. I always talk about setting your partner up to win. And usually I mean a man. We love this like rom-com thing of letting like a man should read our mind and like they should know that I've had a bad day and have a hot soup ready when I get home. And it's like, if you really actually want that, it's so easy. You text your partner and you say, hey, Jake, I'm having a shitty day. It would make me so happy if I came home and there was soup. And then guess what? You come home, your partner wins because they did what you wanted, and you get what you wanted. And you're not building this resentment like he should just know that I have had this. And we slip up all the time. Like I'm not perfect with this either. Like I just had a situation recently because we're new parents, and obviously just like as the woman I'm getting much less sleep than my husband naturally, because I'm also breastfeeding and it's the whole thing. And like I have to stop myself from letting my husband sleep in and then getting mad that he's slept instead of like waking him up and being like, we need your help. Like can you be up to do this thing? But it's so hard because it's like almost like tempting to like let him not win, but you have to like tell your mind, no, just let him win, tell him what to do and he'll do it and then it'll be fine.
That's right. The key is giving yourself those affirmations. So
Yeah.
tell him what you want. Also, double down with what are you grateful for about your partner as well. Yeah. And
Mm.
how good is having babies, my friend?
Oh my God. It's wild. Do you guys have kids?
Yeah. Yeah. Little Ryan is about 1.5. I love having kids. I'm
Yeah.
almost
How
made. I love it.
yeah, how would you say it's changed your marriage if it has?
Um, Probably gotten better, more depth to it.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think if you have a 10 out of 10 relationship and you know what you're doing with relationships and have a baby and you've already built the foundation, it will only make it better.
Yeah.
Uh, my advice to people out there, get married before you have a baby, not because anything about marriage, but if you wait till you get married, you build the foundation of a 10 out of 10, you have enough time together, you set yourself up really well for a good couple of years, and then you have a baby, so you set up really well.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
What would you say now being on the other side and like having an over 1 year old, um, are some questions that you and your wife, or you and your partner to whoever's listening should answer before you have kids?
So you want to make sure that your goals are aligned. Okay. Make sure that you actually have a 10 out of 10 and make sure that you want to be together forever properly. Okay. So if you argue about money a lot, you're not in a good place to have a baby. You'll be on the right page. Okay. And it's also
Because
good if you
babies
can,
are expensive.
they can be 100%. You got to set yourself up for success in all ways. But then at the same time, you're never going to be 100% ready for a baby anyway. So do you do the best you can and then go, well, now it's time to jump in and see how we go, and you'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned like a woman asking something in a feminine way. Do you have thoughts on how women can like lean into their feminine a little bit more? I get this question a lot, and I'm just curious from the male perspective.
Yeah, 100%. So there's a whole bunch of things. So explain it really simply. There's four basic traits of feminine energy and four basic traits of masculine energy, and also have the four Ps. So the four basic traits of feminine energy are nurturing, caring, supportive, and joyous. The four basic traits of masculine energy are leadership, ambition, decisiveness, and protection. Okay. Then for feminine energy, you also have the four Ps, which is you want to be as pretty, as patient, as present, and positive as you can. So you also have the four Ps. I ran through that pretty fast, but anyone who's listening, just rewind it, write it down, and then try to practice those things the best you can. And another little tip, if you're really having trouble getting your feminine energy, do things which fill your cup up so then you can give more femininity. So try to fill your femininity cup up. So the best way to do that usually is go for a walk in nature, go to the beach, look after yourself, maybe go to Pilates or yoga or something, or do an ice bath, or do something. Like, you really got to put yourself first. Okay. One thing a lot of mothers and women in general get wrong is they give someone eight bad hours instead of one good hour. Okay.
Mm,
You're better off giving people less time and making sure that time is really, really amazing than 8 shitty hours. It's a very, very common thing.
that's really interesting. Do you think that there's any need for a man to tap into his feminine side?
Yeah, a little bit. So it's a little bit complicated, but the way I would describe it is more of maybe an 80-20 rule. Okay, so a man should be masculine about 80% of the time, and a woman and is feminine 20% of the time. It's the same for women. So women 80% feminine, 20% masculine. Okay. So a man may step into his nurturing, caring, supportive, joyous energy sometimes. That's
Hmm.
okay. If you're a couple watching this, the only thing I want you to try to remember is I want the man to be more masculine and I want the woman to be more feminine. And other than that, the levels can go up and down a bit as long as you keep it on the same thing. And again, it's, as you said, it's a kind of a habitual practice. You got to keep practicing. Even sometimes I feel myself slipping out of it. You got to practice. It's a lifetime type thing based on how confident you feel on the day.
But don't you think that certain women might need more feminine or more masculine? Like, it's not a one size fits all, or do you think everyone should have the same amount of 80-20?
Aim for 80-20 because everyone's going to embody it differently anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one woman who's her 80-20 may seem like 160%. Okay. So don't stress too much about trying to do it properly. If you're a woman watching this, your goal, just try to be as feminine as you can. Okay. And you'll naturally embody just a good level of it just naturally. You don't want to overthink it. It's because feminine energy is more of a being energy and not a doing energy. So you got to try to that's why the four Ps are good: the pretty, the positive, the present, and the patient. Okay. That patient one, a lot of women get wrong as well. So feminine energy is patient. Okay. It's not active, going forward, focused. It's more patient. That's why that's a very good mothering energy as well. Very patient.
That's so interesting because I am very patient with my son, and I definitely am not patient with my husband the same way. And it's interesting to hear those four Ps because I kind of want to go over them. And if you can give an example of like a practical example of like, like when a man is stressed about work, do X, Y, and Z to show your feminine energy, you know?
Perfect. Great, great question. This is a really, really good one. So if a man is stressed from work, you got to think, okay, what's my job here in my feminine energy? Is my job to give him a shoulder to cry on? or is it my job to make him stronger and more successful so he's a better leader in the family? Your job is somewhat of a cheerleader. So if he does have a stress day from work, don't give him a shoulder to cry on. He's not a baby. The exact sentence that I want you to say he comes on, oh, my boss is this, I've had a bad day, I lost this, blah, 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 real whinging about it. Just go, okay, so what are you going to do about it? That's the
Hmm.
sentence I want you to say. Okay, to push him into his decisive leadership, decision-making, focused energy. Don't go, oh, it's okay, honey. Yeah, everything sucks. No, no, no. What are you going to do about it? That's the correct sentence to say. Okay. Now, as far as the 4Ps are concerned, these are somewhat emotional, Lindsay. So, for example, the first one, pretty.
Yeah, because I hear
What?
pretty and I'm like, are you saying that we need to look pretty all the time? That's how I interpret that.
No, you need to feel pretty. Okay. How you look, you could probably look terrible and your husband will still think you're absolutely gorgeous because he's in love with you. So don't worry about so much about how it looks. What could you do today to make you feel pretty?
Hmm.
Maybe a pedicure, maybe go for a walk, maybe something. You know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
something that makes you feel pretty. Okay. So it's more based on a feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Like it's it's like do self-care almost.
Exactly. Exactly what it is. So then you also have present. So what do you think you could do tonight to be really present with your husband?
Easy, put away my phone when we're hanging out.
Easy, 100%.
Hmm.
What about what could you do to be positive today?
Hmm. I could give him a compliment.
Yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
And give yourself a compliment.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is what we'd call basically an affirmation. I'm
Hmm.
doing great. Achieved so much. I look good. I'm very grateful for the body I have. Just some basic affirmations of
Yeah,
gratitude.
actually, to go to stay on that one for a second, I find that it's a really good practice to compliment yourself when you're with your male partner. Because I think that so many women, we lean towards like the being critical of ourselves. Like that's just like that is what women do, is we criticize ourselves. And wait, can you hear me? Because it says my connection's unstable. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. And I feel like sometimes when I'm feeling most critical of myself, and instead of criticizing myself, I give myself like a compliment in front of my husband. It is so effective because like he thinks that I'm really confident in that moment. And then I just like convince myself of the thing that I just said, even if I don't really feel it.
Very, very important. It's a good way to get dual reassurance. And I also call this pushing reassurance instead of pulling it. So which one sounds better? Do you think I look pretty? Or no, you could say, do you think we're good together? Or we're such a great couple. We're so fantastic together. We have such a good, strong 10 out of 10. We're such a great team. Hey,
Yeah.
see, the second one is pushing reassurance, and the first one is that pulling needy. So if you can try to push reassurance on your partner all the time,
Hmm.
very effective.
But even your pretty example could work. Instead of saying, do you think I look pretty? You could be like, I look really good tonight, don't I? And then they'll be like, yeah, you do, babe. Instead of having to like hold your hand and be like, you look good, don't worry.
It's much more effective and much more attractive too. So one of my sayings is sexy mind, sexy body. Okay. If you're 10 kilos overweight, but you really work it and you can really sexy up here, that's actually way more attractive than if you're like have a really nice body, but you're really nervous and lack
Mm,
confidence. That's not sexy. Sexy mind, sexy body.
I love that phrase. I'm gonna quote you on that. And then what was the last P?
So we have pretty, patient, positive, present. Which one didn't we do? Patient. Yeah. So what could you do to be patient with a friend tomorrow?
To be patient with a friend.
So
Um,
obviously, I'm sure you have
yeah.
friends which aren't on your level. Like there's
Hmm.
they have a lot of potential, but maybe they're not fulfilling it.
Hmm.
What could you do to be patient with that friend?
I could talk to them about, their goals and where they want to be and how we can, what I can do to help make introductions to people who could help with those goals, like something like that.
Perfect. The way I like to handle that one is a little bit of reassurance and a lot of gratitude. Okay. Because in a friendship type stance, we're not their coach, we're more of a friend. So you go, you should definitely go after that goal. You're doing so well already. And then a lot of gratitude as well, because we've got a friendship with them. So we can't be too harsh. But that's a great example of being patient.
But what's interesting is your example of leaning into your feminine. If the guy comes home, he's stressed, and you're like, what are you going to do about it? That to me sounds like the opposite of being patient. You know what I
You're,
mean?
yeah. So that in that particular circumstance, I would say that you're being aggressively patient. So being aggressively going after the goal of you want your husband to be successful, but you're being patient with the results, aggressively,
Mm, mm,
which is very important. So women, I wouldn't be 10% as successful as I am now without my wife. If you're a very smart feminine woman, you can make your husband 10 times more successful, but you
yeah,
got to push him just the right way.
I agree with that. You have to push. Um, I am going to ask you a few of the questions that were submitted by my listeners.
Awesome.
Someone said, why do guys hold in how they're really feeling?
That's a hard question because there's a lot to that. Some guys aren't very good at communicating. Sometimes they'll feel like if they tell you that they love you, it won't be reciprocated. So usually what I recommend when you're dating someone around that 8 week mark, it's a good time to say I love you. If he feels it won't be reciprocated or feels like you don't really like him, he won't risk it. Okay. And and then beyond that, if you're saying I love you and you're really putting a lot of positive stuff out there and he's still not sharing how he feels, he doesn't like you.
Mm, that
And
I 100% agree with.
so he might just like sleeping with you and he doesn't want to put a title on it and he just wants to keep things going the way they are. And maybe in the future, or he's afraid of getting hurt, or all these absolute rubbish sentences, he just doesn't like you that much.
Yeah, I think a lot of people need to hear that. This one, this person asks, can a female tell their best guy friend that she has feelings for him, or should she wait to see if he ever tells her?
Oh my God. Oh boy. Um, I suppose shoot your shot, I suppose, but at the same time, it's definitely the opposite of what I teach. Okay.
Hmm.
I teach if you're single, try to meet someone, okay, whether it's online dating or at a cafe or who cares, be open to all possibilities, but meet someone, then go on a date and another date and another date and do the romantic courtship properly. Okay. A lot of people, they do this backhanded thing where they try to meet someone, they become friends for a year, and then they start to go on a date. And in these situations, they often have good compatibility, but the chemistry is too low. That's often what I see. And they're really becoming a relationship because of proximity and convenience, not out of actual whether they're your ideal partner or not. So
Yeah,
overall, it's a mistake completely.
I agree. And I also think my advice to this person would be that you would probably know if your best guy friend had feelings for you by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My also advice to that girl, don't have a best guy friend. Okay. It's
Elaborate.
usually it's the way guys think, it's usually not a super smart idea to have close guy friends.
Because they want to have sex with you?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very controversial. Most people hate that sentence that I say. Lindsay, if you saw my messages, you would agree with me. Having friends of the opposite gender is usually a pretty bad idea. The
Mm,
amount of messages I get is absurd. in dealing with this exact thing. It never works out. It always goes terribly. They lose the friendship. It all's bad. They've wasted years. It's a time-wasting adventure, and it's really bad. And I know it's controversial. I get it. You shouldn't be friends with people who you want to sleep with. It's backhanded.
And someone will always develop feelings. That I 100% agree with. I think there are rare exceptions to this, but never best friends, right? You could be friendly, but never best friends. But I say,
Yeah.
and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, Jake. But I think there's like, I think I came up with three exemptions from this where like you could be friends and it could work. If they date, like if they're dating your good friend, like because that's like a
Couple
tangential
friends.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one is if like this sounds bad, but like if you're extremely like unattracted to them or something like that, right?
100,
Um,
if they're really ugly, yes, that is changing.
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one is like if you did sleep together years ago and like it I know this one is racy, but if you did sleep together years ago and like there was just nothing and like there's literally like no sexual chemistry at all and like you've already gotten that out of your system so you won't be thinking about that and they won't be thinking about that, but I don't know. You nodded your head, so tell
The
me.
the only problem with that last one is, what would your ideal partner think?
Right.
Your ideal partner would be like, dude, you're friends with someone you slept with? What the hell? I don't want that. A normal human would be jealous of that. And I say, if anything even slightly hinders a 10 out of 10, get rid of it. Um, yeah. Human beings, they gain feelings really quick, like monkeys. You put two human beings in a close proximity for long enough time,
Yeah.
they often do. You see it all the time. Super pretty girl. I have heaps of friends who are guys. They're all so nice to me.
Yeah, no,
Come
they
on.
want to sleep with you. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. This person said, I'm seeing a guy who's very quiet on dates. How to not turbocharge chattiness and fill awkward silences.
So on a normal date, if a girl talks more, that's totally fine. That's pretty normal. Girls are naturally talk more than guys usually. But if it's more than, say, 70-30, like if you're talking more than 70%, it's too much. And there's probably a lack of compatibility. But also, a proper high value date has a fun activity. Now, that activity could be anything from axe throwing to mini putt. It could be anything, right? And doing those fun activities should get him to talk more as well. But if you're really, really chatty and you talk, and some guys, you barely get 2 words out of them, it's probably a lack of compatibility. It should be a pretty good back and forth of conversation. It should be pretty reciprocal.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. What would you say are the best ways to, this is so vague or like general, but someone asked the best ways to resolve conflict in
Yeah,
a
no,
relationship.
it's a great question. Um, there's a whole bunch of things you can do. So I can go through the hierarchy of communication. That'd probably make the most sense. So I've built this hierarchy of communication. The majority of your conversations should be in your feminine energy. I would
Hmm.
love if you took me on a date this weekend. That would make me feel so special. 90% of your conversation is just going to be feminine type communication, pretty friendly, flirting. I bet you love my butt in this. It looks amazing, doesn't it? Just flirty, feminine communication. And then you have soft boundaries. Okay. I call soft boundary the mum look or the school teacher look. You know, I'm not very good at it. You know, when they look over their glasses, you know, that
Mm.
look,
Yeah.
like their face is saying, you want to rewind and try that one again without actually saying anything. That's a soft boundary. If you're
Hmm.
really good at soft boundaries, that's the majority of your boundary setting. They throw a piece of rubbish on the ground instead of putting it in the bin. They go, oh, yeah, right. You don't need to say anything. Your face says it. Okay.
Right.
The only caveat to that one is, if you have a resting bitch face, you can't do soft boundaries because your face is a soft boundary all the time. So make sure you look happy so then you can take it away if they do something dumb. Okay. You have then you have a medium boundary. A medium boundary, say you're on a date with a guy he says some stupid sexist joke, go, I don't like that. Hey, you seen that new Ghostbusters movie? And then you change the subject
Mm.
and change the emotion. Okay.
But
So
you
you
say, you
can't
verbally say, I don't like that.
correct, yeah.
Hmm.
With your face and your body. Okay. So we
Mm.
want to hit those 3 points of communication. I don't like that. No hint of joking, the furrowed brow. I don't like that. But then it's very important. Within 5 seconds, you change the emotion and change the conversation. Some girls change the conversation, but they stay angry. And
Hmm.
then what happens in the guy's mind? He starts defending himself. Oh, this girl's so sensitive. What's wrong with her? And that's a problem. So you got to do it fast, really quickly, and then change the subject so it's not a big deal. And then in his mind, he'll know not to do that again. That's a
I like
medium
that.
bad. Yeah.
Hmm.
And you have a hard conversation. So a hard conversation doesn't necessarily always need to be hard, but it is always necessary. It might be about money, saving up for a holiday, how to parent, moving in together. It's just basically a serious conversation. Some basic rules to a serious conversation are no name calling, no yelling, no aggression, no walking away, staying patient, and a big one, use team words. Okay. So use team words. Don't say stuff like, that's your child, that's my child. That's your money, that's my money. Don't say stuff like that. Okay. This is how much we earn this month. This is what bills we have to pay. This is how much this holiday will cost us and we can save up for together. Use a lot of team words. Okay. That's some rules to general conversation. And remember in a hard conversation, the triangle method being you and your partner in the relationship, you and your partner in the goal, you and your partner in the problem. Always do what's focused on the top of the triangle, not what's best for either people. Okay. So it
Mm.
takes the ego out of it. So when you have hurt feelings, you can ask yourself the question, I do this all the time, what's best for my relationship right now? Okay. If you think, oh, I feel disrespected, I've got to do something about it, then there's a lot of ego in it and you're acting out of emotion. Instead, ask yourself, what's best for my relationship? And that'll often be a 20-second hug.
That's so true. I actually like tweeted or threaded the other day. There's a time and a place to be right, and it's never with your wife.
100%. I got another saying, never make your partner wrong. Okay. Women and men, they hate being wrong. Don't make your partner wrong. And it's, yeah, as you said, it's always better being happy than being right. I don't care about
Hmm.
being right. I would much rather be happy than right.
Totally. Okay, we're gonna do this really fun rapid fire poll question thing. So I'm just gonna ask you questions and you'll just answer like one of these options. Would you rather date someone where you have really high highs and really low lows, or all is steady, medium slash middle?
Well, probably the middle one, I suppose.
Yeah, but they're both not great. What's
No.
worse, your significant other saying shut up during a fight or swearing at you during a fight?
One of the things I teach is no arguing in a relationship ever. So one of the things I teach is you can disagree, but never argue. An
Mm,
argument is a disagreement that has aggression and disrespect in there, which has zero room in a relationship. So I'm real tough on this one. Early in the dating stage, guys, even on the first or second date, set that expectation with the new person you're dating. I don't argue ever. We can
I
talk normally, but
yeah,
never argue.
I like that, but you have to choose shut up or swear.
Probably shut up.
Hmm. Do you feel guilty after talking shit about someone? Yes or no? These are not always about dating.
Um, Quite a rarity for me to talk behind someone's back. If someone does something stupid, I usually just tell them. I guess not,
When's
because I
your
don't
birthday, by the way?
really. 28th of February.
Oh, you're Pisces.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Boyfriend is pretty stingy and frugal. At first, I thought he was responsible with money, but now it feels excessive. Is that a red flag, deal breaker, or no big deal?
It can be a red flag. Yeah. So I've met quite a few very successful guys, like my dad, for example.
Hmm.
Uh, you go out to lunch, he makes you pay. It's very depressing. It's not very fun. So yeah, you want to find a guy who's successful but also generous. So it can be a red flag. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How often do you and a long-term significant other have sex? Every day, every couple days, once a week, or every other week?
I teach 3 times a week. So try your best.
Yeah.
Some weeks you might only do it twice. Some weeks you may do it 4 times, but on average, try to do it 3 times a week.
Mm,
Okay. If you have kids and work and hobbies and lots of different things going on in your life, you got to plan it a little
mm,
bit.
hmm I mean, that'd be a great success 3 times a week after kids. If your boyfriend has started sending heart emojis for the first time, is the I love you coming soon? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Is it normal to get nervous, cold feet right after getting engaged? Yes or no?
You may get a little bit of overthinking in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just give yourself some reassurance and tell yourself lots of reasons why you're grateful for your partner.
Yep. Okay, last one. Um, do you feel like your friendship with your closest friend changed after they got married? Yes or no?
No, not really. I find after people get married, they usually become better people in a weird
Yeah,
way.
if it's the right marriage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it's a toxic marriage, yeah, they become worse. But usually, yeah, they usually become better people, more higher integrity, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially men.
We
Awesome.
need it.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Can you leave us with a quote or piece of advice?
Life is a reflection of what you allow. Okay. So if you want a really fantastic life, only allow the good things.
That's awesome. Where can everyone find you, follow you, and read your book?
So, guys, pretty much any social media, if you just type in Jake Maddock, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, I'm all over it. If you want to copy my book, How to Achieve a 10 out of 10 Relationship, I love this book, Lindsay. My wife designed the cover. So
It's awesome.
I quite like it. I quite like it. I'm going to get her to design all my covers, to be honest.
You
I'm
should.
not very good with this artsy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because you're not leaning into your feminine.
No, I'm good at writing the words. I can type all that. That was very easy. The link to the book's just on Amazon, but if you go to any of my social media, you can click the link and you can, yeah, the book's there.
Awesome. When is your wife's birthday, by the way?
It is the 24th of September.
Oh, very cool. She's a Libra.
Yeah.
Libras
People
are the
ask,
best.
yeah, she's fantastic. Really great human being. Um, People ask me all the time when I do a TikTok live or whatever. They say, "Are you a Leo? Are you a Aries? Are you?" They always try to
Hmm
guess. They never guess Pisces. I don't know why. I don't know much about astrology, but they never guess Pisces.
Because I bet you don't have it in the rest of your chart. It's just your sun sign. I'll teach you about that next time.
Okay. Yeah, I need to know more about that. I don't know much.
Totally. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jake. This was so fun.
Great questions, my friend. I'm a big fan of your social media too. Really good.
Oh, thank you.